We'll start with the basic sketch. We, as we usually do, we don't divide the space into two halves, even if the composition is almost half. We bring it slightly lower. You know how I do it? I just set my hand to the edge of the board. I hold the pencil steady and I draw a line which is almost straight, like my leg is stopping me from going to the end. Okay, so I have got this. Uh, Now there is going to be some vegetation out here. Out here, there's going to be some vegetation. Let's make a rough sketch of that. And there is some sand which comes into a little bit of water here. Okay, and that sand comes out here. uh, it's a lake. It's a lake. It goes like that, and there is a small mound or an island right in there. The river or the lake boundary bank goes like that and gets hidden in the vegetation out here. We'll have some vegetation here and gets hidden in the vegetation out here. And we'll get the mound slightly out. We'll have a tree here. We'll have a tree here which goes into the vegetation like that. And the mound here has some detailed edge. As we usually get into doing this won't be a straight line or a curved line. It'll be very serrated. And we sketch that so that when we do the coloring, we won't have any hesitation in getting that edge serrated. Okay, and some distant mountain. Okay, we'll do that. That'll be interesting. That'll be mist here. That'll be mist here. Okay. So generally, what we are doing is we are trying to show how the mist is to be painted. The mist paint பண்ணுறது தான் இந்த எக்ஸசைஸோடைய மெயின் எய்ம். இப்போ ட்ராயிங் வந்து நம்ம லேண்ட்ஸ்கேப் போட்டாச்சு. அதை அதை அந்த இடத்த கொஞ்சம் மேலே தூக்கிடுவோமா? அந்த இடத்த கொஞ்சம் டிஸ்டன்ஸில் போகுது. அது வந்து அங்கே கொஞ்சம் மேலே அப்படி போயிடுதுன்னு வச்சுக்கிறோம். அப்படி வச்சுக்கிறோம். இந்த இடத்துல இருக்கக்கூடிய லைன்ஸ் எல்லாம் எரேஸ் பண்ணிடுவோம். எப்பயுமே எரேஸ் பண்ணும்போது யூ வில் ஹேவ் டு பி வெரி கேர்ஃபுல் when you are erasing that you don't damage the surface of the paper. Okay, so we got the basics ready. Now we can go to the sky and do a little bit of since we are going to be having misty atmosphere here, the misty effect out here, maybe a little bit here too. We will have to see that the cloud is not white or the sky is not bright blue. No, it has to be slightly dull for obvious reasons, right? So let me see if the paper is in the right setup. Okay, I hope you are able to see the drawing. I will take a photograph of this and post it along with our work, our video. Okay, got it. The light seems to be dark this side, so I'm trying to fix that when we take other photographs. No problem there. Okay. We got it right. Now we'll have to get the sky color mixed before we start, because we are going to do a wet on wet on the sky level. So I am going to mix a little bit of burnt sienna to cobalt blue and get a slightly brownish blue gray. Okay, not much, but a slightly brownish blue gray, so that the sky looks dull. Okay, I got that done. We call it a wash, because you remember that. We call it a wash, and I am going to wet the sky area enough to let the color spread easily. Okay, I can come into the vegetation area here, the trees, that mound. Because that's going to be much darker than the sky, right? So we can do that, and we have to be careful not to damage the paper. So the tip of the brush should be touching the paper, not the ferrule. The ferrule should not touch the paper. We have to be very careful about that. Don't leave any dust or sand or hair in there, because that could damage the painting. When we are doing the painting, see, when we are painting, ஒரு விஷயம் கேர்ஃபுல்லாக ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோங்க. when we are painting, கலர் வந்து ஒரு தடவை இப்படி வச்சிட்டோன்னா, the moment we keep a color like that, we don't touch that unless we are very sure we have to touch it and change it. Try not to modify it at this stage. Okay, because then the color will lose its natural spreading. You see, I'm touching this because I know that area didn't have enough water, so it's going to create problem. I've done that before. So unless you have practice, do not touch. Whatever you're going to keep, just keep it like that, and we'll see what happens later. Okay. Okay, so that's done. We can come to this area, because we don't want to touch the area which is still wet. Okay, it will start spreading, so we'll go to the other areas. We can go to this brown, and since we have the blues, no, we'll go to the browns. Okay, so we have brown, burnt sienna, and a little bit of blue gets us a nice brown. We can have yellow ochre too. Yellow ochre, straight burnt sienna in places. Okay, I'm going to have straight burnt sienna in places. I don't have yellow ochre on my palette. Let me take a little bit of yellow ochre. I hope I can manage. The climate is nice, so it won't dry fast. That's a big advantage for me. So I'm going to take a little bit of yellow ochre with the same brush. Okay, I'm trying to blend these things. I usually like blending. There are some watercolorists and there are some watercolor techniques where you don't blend. Let it dry as hard as possible is one way of doing it. But I like to blend it. Okay, so let me blend it. Nothing wrong in blending. Nothing wrong in blending. Nothing wrong in letting it dry hard. I feel comfortable doing this blending. Okay, if you try both the techniques and if you feel comfortable blending, do the blending. If you feel comfortable letting it dry hard edged, தமிழில் வந்து கரை கட்டுறதுன்னு சொல்லுவோம். அப்படி கரை கட்டுற மாதிரி வேணும் அப்படின்னு நினச்சிங்கன்னா நீங்கள் அப்படி விட்டுடலாம். இல்லை எனக்கு பிளெண்ட் ஆகி சாஃப்டாக இருக்கட்டும் அப்படின்னு நினச்சிங்கன்னா யூ கேன் பிளெண்ட் இட். அது நம்ம வந்து we should try both these techniques before we decide on what we want to do. Okay, so you have to master these techniques. You have to master these techniques. So try all the possible techniques so that you will know what you are going to be doing. I'm going to take a little bit of sap green. I have my blue, cobalt blue, I have my burnt sienna, I have a little bit of vermilion, I have yellow ochre on my palette. I can use any of these colors at any given time. So that is why I have 2-3 small palettes, one large one where I make my washes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little bit of yellow ochre spread out. Okay, a little bit of yellow ochre spread out like that. If you notice, your brush to run like that, you have to have a lot of practice, obviously, right? If you want to do something which looks so casual, then you have to have a lot of practice doing that. So try to do this without the fear of going wrong. Nothing can go wrong. You can always manipulate and get what you want towards the end. Okay, but if you don't try these things, these techniques out, how are you going to learn it? Okay, so let me get into that. Okay, and suddenly I heard somebody talk in the house and I just stopped it. Okay. Okay, well, let's see what happens when we come to this. Okay, now I'm going to wash my brush and I'm going to take a little bit of green, sap green, and apply some greens in some of these areas. Okay. Okay, so see, what we have to remember is we are not just going to give one coat of green and okay, all our grass work is done, all our plan. No, we have to give 3 coats, 3 tones, no, 3 values, dark, medium and light to get a 3 dimension. Yeah, we know that when we do our object studies, when we do our light and shade, we know that we have to give 3 layers to get the dimension right? So here too, we have to give 3 layers to get the dimension right. How do you think the dimension is going to come out right if you are going to give just one layer? Okay, so this is one layer. Probably this will be the lightest. Okay, then we need to go to medium tone and then to the dark tone. Okay, so now I am going far away. That's too thick, too dark. Okay, I'm going to go far away and I have to change the color too. So likewise, unless you do, that's a lousy brush. Unless you do something, how are you going to know whether you can do it or you have to practice more? So without fear, keep doing. Without fear, keep doing. And when you're right, very good. When you're not right, then you go to the masters, whether it's going to be a book or whether it's going to be a teacher whom you are learning from, and do what you have to do. So that is the way we become experts. Hmm? I am just adding detail here so that I will know exactly how dark things are going to be when it goes away. Because we are going to have green there, we are going to have all the colors there. Okay. Okay, so here we have to have a little bit of green. Shall we go to that? Yes. Or should I do this first before I go there? I'll do this first. No, I wanted to do that before I come to this. Okay, so I'll go to that. Now it is damp. Like if we touch like this and see, we can see the reflection and find out if it is wet. But when it becomes dry and the paper has the water, the paper is damp. Okay, so if you touch like this and try to find out if it is damp, it's not easy to find out. But if you touch with the tip of your finger back, the back of the finger, you will see whether, see if you touch here and touch there, you'll see the difference. It's almost dry. It is almost dry, not totally dry, but almost dry. So what I am going to do is, now is the time you're going to see how we manipulate the mist. Okay, I have two brushes. One brush is clean and with clean water. The other brush is where I am going to take color. Okay, so it is far away, so it is going to be slightly bluish green. Also, it's going to be slightly dirty. We know that, right? We know what I am talking about. Color perspective. Like objects of the same color seem to become lighter and duller, bluer. We can see the landscape only during daytime. We generally see the landscape during daytime. So it's going to be bluer. The sky blue comes into this. Okay. So I am going to make this color dull and bluer. Okay, and the edges are going to be serrated. I am going to sort of imitate foliage out there, the trees, as if the trees are visible at the edge. We can go to that again later, but for now we have to do this and come down immediately to get the misty effect. Okay, so அந்த மிஸ்டி எஃபெக்ட் செய்கிறதுக்காகத்தான் நம்ம இவ்வளோ கஷ்டப்பட்டுக்கிட்டு இருக்கோம் இல்லையா? அந்த எஃபெக்ட் எப்படி கொண்டு வர்றதுன்றதை தான் நான் வந்து இப்போ செய்ய போகிறேன். அப்போ வந்து இது காயறதுக்குள்ளே நம்ம அங்கே வந்தாகணும். சரிங்களா? இப்படி செஞ்சுட்டு அங்கே மேலே வந்து டார்க் ஆக்கிடுறோம். டார்க் ஆக்கிட்டு ட்ரையாக இருக்க ஃபேன் ஆஃப் பண்ணிடுங்க. ஃபேன் இருந்துச்சு அப்படின்னா இந்த வேலை நடக்கவே நடக்காது. ட்ரையாக இருக்கக்கூடிய ஊர்களில் குயிக்காக செஞ்சுருங்க. இவ்வளோ தூரம் நிறுத்திட்டு தண்ணியை எடுத்து இங்கே வையுங்க முதல்ல. இந்த இடத்துல வச்சுட்டு அப்படியே கொண்டு வந்து அவ்வளோ தூரத்துக்கு அப்படி கொண்டு வந்து இது வரைக்கும் தண்ணி டச் பண்ணல, அதுக்கப்புறம் டச் பண்ணி விட்டுருங்க. சரியாக அந்த எட்ஜு காயாமல் இருக்கணும். காஞ்சிருந்துச்சின்னா லேசாக டச் பண்ணலாம், ரொம்ப டச் பண்ண வேண்டாம். அப்படியே கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சம் கீழே கொண்டு வந்து விட்டுடலாம். அப்படி விட்டுருவோம். சரியா? இப்போ நான் அடுத்ததுக்கு போகிறேன். குயிக்காக போய்கிட்டே இருக்கணும். ஏன்னா எல்லாம் ஒரே கலராக இருக்க போகுது இல்லையா? அதனால் நம்ம ரொம்ப ஸ்பேஸ் விட்டோன்னா, டைம் ஸ்பேஸு விட்டுட்டோன்னா இதோட மர்ஜ் ஆகாது அது கலர்ஸ். இதை கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சம் இந்த இடத்துல கொஞ்சம் வித்தியாசமாக செய்ய பார்க்குறேன். பார்ப்போம் எப்படி வருதுன்னு பார்ப்போம். வரும், சரியாக வரும். எங்கே போயிட போகுது, நம்மளை விட்டு ஓட முடியாது. இட் வில் பி ஆல் ரைட். ஐ எம் ட்ரைங் டு மேக் அ ஸ்லைட் சேஞ்ச் இன் the way the edges are handled. Okay, slightly like that. And I'm also getting the colors slightly brighter in places, duller than what is seen there. Now I have to do the merging because it's drying too fast. I can see that it is drying too fast, so I'm doing the merging quickly. Sorry, I'll go back to the edges. And see how I'm manipulating the situation where it looks as if there are some trees. I can draw the branches later because those areas are dark, you know. Okay, so now I'm going to bring the color merge. I'm going to get the color merged. Okay, and I'm going to bring, when I said I'm going to bring, I was talking about. Okay, so you have to be very, very careful about this. I'm going to be bringing that down, and the mist disappears there. Okay, so the mist disappears there means it disappears there. Okay, now we can have a little bit of the mist comes down. Okay, and it breaks here. The mist breaks here. Okay, and what do? I merge it off like that. Let's see what happens. Now, like with this technique, you can't be 100% sure of what you're doing. Well, so for somebody who has been doing this for a very long time and also being a teacher, I get a chance to do this a lot of times. So I can get it, okay, 50% right. That's the maximum one can possibly go. See, the mushrooming and all will be taken in. We won't try to merge the mushrooming. It will be taken to advantage. It will taken in used to advantage. Okay. Probably will have a little bit of color out here. Okay. Now, I'm not very happy with that part of the. That part came down very fast. Okay, I think that's better. விளங்குதா உங்களுக்கு அந்த அந்த merge பண்ணி விடுறப்ப கொஞ்சம் அந்த இடத்துல ஒரு கேரக்டர் இருக்கிற மாதிரி. ஸோ we just try to make it look as if there are going to be some plants out here. The mist is not organized. Yeah, it's organic, so it's not organized. How disorganized is it? Is it completely disorganized? No, not possible. Nature is not completely disorganized. It has a different kind of organization, right? So that's exactly what we try to do when we do this. We have a certain kind of brush stroke. ஒரு brush stroke இப்படி தான் வைக்கணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு வச்சுக்கிறோம். அந்த brush stroke அப்படியே தான் வச்சுட்டு போகிறோம். ஆனால் பக்காவாக இப்படி தான் வச்சுட்டு போகிறோம் அப்படின்றது இல்லாமல் இந்த இடத்துல இப்படி வச்சா நல்லாயிருக்கும் அப்படின்றத we can change the brush stroke here and there and create an effect which is not constant everywhere. Okay, we will go into depth out there, we'll go into some details here and there. Okay, so now we have come to that. I have just painted that area. I wanted to paint that. I can't, but being a stubborn man, I think I'm going to try that out. I think I'll work in that area a little bit later. That area, you know. Okay, now I'm going to merge it off. I'm merging it off here because I put less quantity of color and water, so that will dry off very fast, and it has already dried off and it is creating a mushroom is that effect that you see here. Okay, so that happens when the paper has water but the color has generally dried on the surface, and you apply color on that area. Now the color on the surface gets moved out. Okay, so that is when mushrooming happens. Okay, I'm encouraging mushrooming there. Let's see what happens. Right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but I am willing to take that risk to see if it works or not. Okay, I'm going to have a little bit of burnt sienna. That's vermilion. That is burnt sienna. Burnt sienna. Yeah, I'm going to have a little bit of burnt sienna, yellow ochre combination out there with a little bit of blue to have a shore like thing, bank, no? Lake shore or lake bank. சரிங்களா, அந்த இடத்த வந்து கொஞ்சம் மண் தரையை அப்படி காட்டிட்டோம் அப்படின்னா ஓரளவுக்கு செட் ஆயிரும். சரியா? இப்போ வந்து எப்படி அதை காட்டுறது? எல்லாத்துலேயும் கொஞ்சம் ப்ளூ சேர்த்தே ஆகணும் இல்லையா? we have to mix a little bit of blue because it is slightly away from us. This is close by, this is slightly away, that's far away. Do you see it's a big brush? When I hold it like that, it is flat. When I hold it like that, it is sharp. So that manipulation helps a lot in getting. I smell something burning. I'll just be back. Prema? Prema? Okay.